Greetings and salutations. My name is Reverend Daryl Ware, and I've been given the awesome task of sharing the history of the Voices of Unity Gospel Choir of SUNY College at New Paltz. I'm a product of the High School of Music and Art, or LaGuardia High School in New York City, a school whose gospel choir was probably one of the best in the country. As I entered SUNY New Paltz as a freshman in the fall of '79, my appetite for choral gospel music done well and with excellence was great. It didn't take me long to find the gospel choir on campus, the Voices of Inspiration, which I immediately joined. At the same time, I, along with a couple of my good friends and classmates, Lynn Smith and Judy Shepard, we would get together in Lynn's room on the first floor dorm room in Gage Hall, and I would teach them gospel song after gospel song. We would sing. Unbeknownst to us, on the other side of her door, crowds would be gathering in the hallway as they sat and stood and listened to us clapping after every song like we were in concert. Never mind, we never did this, never during quiet hours, no. But my singing buddies, they encouraged me to start my own group as the Voices of Inspiration kind of fell apart over the course of the school year. So, in the fall of '80, we posted signs all over campus for a newly formed gospel choir. The audition process was far from traditional. You had to be able to learn your voice part to a song taught on the spot by ear, and then be able to hold your part while the other voice parts were sung by Lynn and Judy. The end results were 15 voices that met weekly in a classroom in McKenna Theater. It was the 15 of us that voted on the name Voices of Unity, or VOU, which the choir is still called by to this day, even to include a campus call in the same spirit of the fraternities and sororities. Ours was and is VOU! And it's been embellished since then. However, rehearsals at the time were intense, yet we had a lot of fun. Our increasing number of singing engagements on campus was taxing, to say the least, yet most inspiring. By the end of the first semester, I had met with Dr. Albert Williams Myers, the chairman of the Black Studies Department, to discuss the possibility for students to receive college credit for their participation in the choir. In the spring of '81, VOU was offered under the Black Studies Department as fieldwork in Black Studies for 3 credits. VOU doubled in size that semester, even with the intense audition process. This was the semester that we worked on getting our first uniform, navy blue choir robes with the blue sash hanging down, which the young ladies would put around their neck and over their shoulder. We proudly participated in the New Day Ensemble's Salute to the Black Performing Arts as the show's headliner in Parker Theater that year. I believe that it was this concert that solidified VOU both as a viable class and student organization at New Paltz. By the fall of '81, our second year, we grew to approximately 40 members. And thanks to the tenacity of Dr. Williams Myers to get it done, we were now listed in the schedule of classes as Voices of Unity for 3 upper division credits that could be taken twice through the Black Studies Department. We were dubbed ambassadors for the college by the president at the time, Alice Chandler. The president's administrative secretary, Miss King, who I will always hold dear to my heart, was most instrumental in advocating for the choir and keeping Miss President Chandler aware of our accomplishments and our needs. Each semester, we performed and did complete concerts, both on campus and in the surrounding cities like Poughkeepsie, Newburgh, Kingston, and Albany. It seemed like every other week we had 2 school vans and at least 2 to 4, maybe even 5 cars caravanning to New York City, sometimes to Long Island, just to do concerts. There was no mistaking that VOU earned every single one of those 3 credits. Truth be told, I think we were all happy to go to churches like our adopted home, New Central Baptist Church in Kingston, under the pastorate of the late Reverend Dr. Jesse Kitchen. You see, with every concert and with every church came a good home-cooked meal. No disrespect to Hasbrook, but I'm just saying, okay? I'll never forget our first out-of-state concert tour, which included Virginia State University and Fayetteville State College in North Carolina. The friendships that were forged with a number of their choir members still remains to this day. Because we were a class, there had to be an instructor. Miss Consuelo Hill, who was already a part of the Black Studies Department teaching staff, became the sit-in instructor. I say sit-in because we were all responsible to turn in a written reaction paper to her each semester for credit, while I ran the choir's business, taught all the music as the choir's founder, president, and main director. Shout out to Lania and Crystal, my co-directors. During this time, we also were recognized as a student organization and were allowed to submit a budget each year to help sustain the work of the choir. By the time of my farewell concert in December of '83, there were over 50 in the choir, and VOU was one of the strongest Black student organizations on campus. I think I speak the sentiments of many of my classmates and fellow choir members when I say that VOU kept us connected to our faith. It filled the void we felt not being home, worshiping in our own churches in a lot of cases. For many, it gave us the boost, the encouragement we needed to weather the storms that we were experiencing in home and college life. The ministry of song, or the ministry of the gospel in song, led many to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ as Lord. And while VOU was and is a source of spiritual strength for many, for others, it was an experience that only gospel music can give: joy, uplift, hope, and inspiration. The membership of the choir has included all walks of life, both Christian and non-Christian, young and not so young, every ethnicity and every belief system, all singing the good news of the gospel, either as a spiritual outlet or to experience the genre of music called gospel. And yes, some just for what they thought would be 3 easy credits. My graduation didn't bring an end to VOU, thank God. Even though the choir was started because I had a desire to exercise the gifts that God had given me to fill a void on campus, there was a greater plan that continued to unfold, as is evident in the 40-year history of a choir that continues to chug along even during these difficult and unprecedented times we're presently living in. In the spring of '83, my friend and sister, Professor Consuelo Hill, better known as Connie, became the director of the choir as well as its professor. Under her direction, VOU took first place in the MENC National Collegiate Gospel Choir competitions held in New York yearly. She headed a list of dedicated professors for the class, including Grace Bowles, Roxanne Ward, and Crystal Johnson. However, the late Robert Armand, former student musician, held the position of professor for the longest period of time. While I returned to New Paltz as the professor for about 9 years, Robert dedicated close to 15 years of his time instructing VOU. He is gone, but he will never, ever be forgotten for all that he's instilled into the students that he taught in the Voices of Unity at the time. Presently, my dear friend and colleague, Professor Siesta Quinn, has been faithfully leading the choir for the past 6 years, despite some health challenges. I salute Siesta and every instructor VOU has ever known. But wait, there are also some really strong student and alumni directors that have given of their musical abilities to the betterment of VOU. Here's where I'll probably get in a little trouble because I wasn't on the scene the whole time, but Rita Little, Stephanie Simpson, Ebony King, Paula Shanice Clay, all student directors, and of course, I dare not leave, and there were many others, I'm sure. Please forgive me because I don't know your names. But of course, Lee Riley, whose blood I believe drips VOU. His love for VOU continues to be reflected in his ongoing work as director along with Professor Quinn. Also, every president that served over the choir, handling the organizational piece of the choir, making sure everything was run correctly organizationally. I thank all of you, every single president. Now, I hope you don't think that I would give the history of the choir without mentioning the unwavering support of a giant of New Paltz, the late Dr. Margaret Wade Lewis, who also served as chair of the Black Studies Department for many years. What a phenomenal woman and a great advocate for the choir throughout the years. Words could never express the debt of gratitude we owe her and Dr. Albert Williams Myers for fighting our battles, for believing in the work and the ministry of VOU as viable and essential to the New Paltz community. We thank you. As I bring this to a close, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that VOU did more than sing. Through VOU, a dance ministry was born. A smaller VOU ensemble was created. Membership with the fraternity, sorority, Ooga Mooga, United Gospel Artists ministering under God's great anointing. And last but certainly not least, the birth of a campus church recognized as a student organization between 1998 and 99 by the name of Faith Unity Tabernacle under the guidance of Holy Light Pentecostal Church, Bishop Gar's pastor. Listen, the history of VOU is rich and long, but my time with you is short. I thank you for listening to my story of how purpose and destiny came together to bring to fruition at the State University of New York College at New Paltz, a choir, Voices of Unity. To God be the glory.